Hey everybody, today I'm very excited because I'm going to be doing my first ever review of a tarot deck, and I think I'm qualified enough to review this deck because I've been using it for about 8 months now. This is going to be the review of the Cat's Eye Tarot. For this week's weekly reflection, I'm just going to post about it, so on whichever social media you're following me, you can find my post there, but I'll also post it on my blog and I will link you to the page in the description. I don't know what's wrong with my talking. Anyway, so the Cat's Eye Tarot, I ordered it in April 2019. I've been using it ever since. I paid 21 euros. It's a very nice deck by Deborah M. Given and published by US Games Systems. So yeah, it's a cutesy deck. I threw away the paper box that it came in because it was really just that. It was a little box, and instead got this for a couple of euros from a nearby store. Don't you really like the symbols on it? It's kind of geometrical, but still somehow, I don't know, like it makes you think on a different plane. Anyway, that's not what I'm reviewing. So coming back to the Cat's Eye Tarot, yeah, in the box were the 78 cards, 2 additional descriptive cards, and this little white book, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So the descriptive card, here is the title, and you have the King of Wands on it. And another additional card that I really liked was this special spread that you can do with these cards called 9 Life Spread, and it can give you very detailed information about what you can expect from your life and your energies in the moment going forward related to that question. I've not done it very often, but it sounds like a nice spread, so good about that. Here the back of the deck, I hope it's not too shiny there. Yeah, I think it's a very haunting back. So as you can see, you can't reverse the cards here, but I read without reversal, so for me it was perfectly fine. And I find that the eyes are so daunting. It disturbs a lot of people, but for me, I think that it always adds to a reading. So imagine you're picking out a card and you have a card like this with only the eyes calling out to you when you lay it down. So some people are very drawn to the eyes and some people are drawn away from them. So I think it already adds that intuitive element to the reading. So yeah, I really like the backs of the deck. Now let's talk about the little white book. It's got 62 pages. It's got the descriptions of the major arcana and then goes on to the minor arcana. What I also really like about it is that it contains keywords, and then it contains a description of the picture, what the picture represents, and then it contains the meaning of the card for you to reflect on. Once you understand what the picture is saying, I find that it's also very easy to reflect on it, and keywords are very helpful if you just want a quick peek into the book. For an art noob like me, it's very helpful to always have descriptions in the little white books, and I'm so glad that this one does too. And it really helped me understand the cards better and bond with it. Is this book enough for a beginner? I'm gonna have to go with a no. Like, it's gonna help you bond with the deck and it's gonna help you understand the individual meanings of cards, but it's not going to give you a feeling for tarot as a concept, as a whole. So in order to do that, I recommend a deeper study of tarot itself, but you don't have to buy a new deck for that. Say for example that you have this one, then you can compare this to say an online image of a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck and just read the description and try to find the commonality in the art between that and between the Rider-Waite deck and your deck, whichever one it is that you're using, but this was just a beginner tip. So that will really help you understand the cards better, and it will help you understand the system better, the cycles better, and the deeper symbology behind the cards. Although this deck does not seem to have a lot of symbolism, but it's just good to know what the artists were thinking about when they designed this method and this order of cards. So I definitely recommend at least comparing every card in this deck to the main one if you're just beginning. But if you're not, I find that this is a great deck for advanced readers as well. So I thought that I will just share some of my favorite cards with you. But before that, the Artistry. I have to talk about it. It's so beautiful. Let me just flip through some of the cards that I have here. They are random. But the Artistry, it's like hand-painted images. They're so pretty and like so full of life. You can really understand the cats in their daily lives and what it is that they seem to be doing. So I really enjoy just looking at the pictures. Like even if I weren't reading tarot, it's just so nice to keep looking at the pictures and think, oh yeah, like, you know, these cats are so cute, and oh, my cat used to do that, and things like that. So that's a pretty nice way to actually get to know this deck. Now in this deck, in the major arcana, there are different kinds of cats doing different kinds of things, and in the minor arcana you have 4 types, races, breeds, whatever you call it, of the cats, which are represented with certain colors. So you and you'll see it as I show you the pictures. So for example, we have the wands suit. It's represented by the ginger cats, and it often has this yellowy kind of a background. Then you have the cups. Oh, this is one of the cutest cards in the deck, the Page of Cups, and it's usually the tuxedo cat with a reddish kind of a background. And then you often have the swords suit, which is represented by a Siamese cat with a kind of a bluish background. And you have the pentacles, which are often represented in a greenish, outdoorsy, farm kind of a background, the tabby cat in the barn kind of a background. So yeah, I really like that when you lay it out in a spread, the colors and the cats already tell you what suit, what energy this reading is gonna have, and it helps you immediately get a sense for it, and that is really nice. So let's do a little flip through. I'm just gonna pull some cards to show you, give you an idea about how different it could be if you already know the traditional Rider-Waite system. So you have the 5 of Wands here, chaos, but it's kittens fighting, so you know, what do you make of it? Then you have the 6 of Wands, strong cat walking away, knows that he needs to find his own path. This 8 of Wands is something that I find very interesting. 8 of Wands is all about swiftness, and here you have a mother cat who's running inside and has probably rescued her kittens before they could die. Wow, if that isn't urgent, I don't know what is. Moving on to Cups, this is the 9 of Cups, a very joyful moment for this cat, really well represented. I wanted to show this card because it's so different from the traditional Rider-Waite, and it represents happiness too, but differently, and I really like this cute representation of the 10 of Cups as well. I'm always happy, but it never seems to come up in readings, so apparently the people I read for and myself are not very happy. I don't know, we get other kind of happy cards. Alright, and then of course I showed you the Page of Cups already. So here we have the Ace of Swords, which you've also seen. The aces usually just have a paw, and either there's a bird or, I don't know, a fish tank or a snake or something that the cats are trying to get at. So a very cute representation. Now this is the 3 of Swords. Now you're going to ask yourself, okay, normally the 3 of Swords has 3 swords going through a heart. In this deck, it says that imagine you see the paw prints in the sand. So imagine that a cat got used to a family that lived in this cottage over their summer holidays. Now that they're gone, there's nobody to feed these cats or this cat, and therefore this cat is hunting for food. Loss? Anybody? Wow. Nine of Swords. Somebody is being skittish and afraid. But of what? Of something real? Then coming to the Pentacles, we have the Four of Pentacles, greed, greed, greed. You have Six of Pentacles, charity, everybody gets something. And you have the Ten of Pentacles, again represented very differently but very nicely, I find. So those were some of the minor arcana. I want to talk about the major arcana, some of my favorites. They're very hard to pick. All of these were hard to pick, but I had to take care of the time. So this is one of my absolutely favorite, High Priestess. It's like, just look at the way she's looking back at you. It's almost like, she's mocking you, like she's telling you, I'm mysterious and you're never gonna find out all my secrets. Gotta love this High Priestess. This Strength card is so cute. But for example, in this deck, you don't have the infinity symbol in this card. And if that's important to you, then you should consider that before buying this deck. To me, it didn't matter. And I think this Strength card is very apt, especially from a cat's perspective. So, well done. I wanted to talk about death. This is a very unusual take on death, but as you can see, like this cat is just seeing the change. He's seeing the seasons change and everything seems to be like white, winter, gray, and he's maybe hoping and wishing that things were green, but spring is just round the corner. Temperance. This is again a very beautiful representation of temperance. You have water, you have yin yang, beautifully done. And the one name change from the traditional Rider-Waite name is, instead of the Hanged Man, you have the Hanged Kitty. Now, these were just some of the cards that I showed you so that you get an idea about it. I'm not going to do a full flip through, but I'm really glad that I bought this deck. For me, what really played a huge role in understanding this deck was, of course, the images, and they were quite clear a lot of the times. But I think that this deck in its appearance is also very gentle. So there's no blood, there are no harsh things happening to the cats. Like, the cats are not dying, or it's not a harsh imagery. But I think when you really start to explore the cards, for example, I explained the Three of Swords, and there are a few other cards like that. When I read about them, I had tears in my eyes, and I think that this deck is capable of giving very deep and powerful messages, but at the first glance, it appears gentle. So this deck is very nice to read with, especially for people who are skeptical about tarot, or who are new to tarot, let's say. So this is really great for people who are new to tarot, or who are sensitive and who can't handle very graphic images. For them, this deck just gives cute cats at first, and then the more one explores, the more one discovers the secrets. So it's a very beautifully done deck. I wish the court cards sometimes were a little bit clearer, but everybody's always confused about the court cards anyway, so you gotta find your way to learn them. So, in short summary, it's a decent deck, shuffles well, decent card stock, nice back, non-reversible, is a very non-traditional Rider-Waite deck. So in its meanings, it's very Rider-Waite, but in its picturization, it's not. It's an illustrated deck, and the minor arcana is not a pip style, so it's great for beginners. And for intermediate or advanced readers, it's got cats, super duper cute, and it's gentle in its first appearance, which means you can read for all kinds of people with this deck. But of course, if you don't like cats, or if you could never enjoy this kind of imagery, then this deck is probably not for you. So I hope you enjoyed my review. Let me know if you have considered buying this, if you've already bought this deck, and if you've been using it, how much fun you've had using it. On that note, here's wishing a lot of love to you. Until next time. Bye bye.